your old pal said, son, you've got a friend in me. Yeah, you've got a friend in me.
Our opening hymn is number 389, Gathered Here. Please sing along with Glenn Thomas Rideout, Linda Susan Ulrich, and Allison Hallers, Unitarian Universalists of Ann Arbor. It's a round, so when they break into different parts, choose whichever point of entry you like.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Spirit draw near. Struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. 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 Spirit draw near.
The bell and the mourning doves call us together in covenant to bring us to mindfulness and bring fairness and loving kindness as unforced flowers of life. Today, let us especially remember our covenant to affirm and promote the second principle, justice, equity, and compassion in all our relations.
Good morning, and welcome to Community Unitarian Universalist Congregation at White Plains, New York, formerly the Lenape Nation. I'm Adam Kent, CUUC Music Director, coming to you from my home in Manhattan.
I'm Tracy Brenneman, Director of Religious Education and Faith Development, joining you from my office at CUUC.
And I'm Reverend Meredith Garmon in our congregation sanctuary, welcoming you to this home of liberal religion. Here we are oriented toward learning, freedom, justice, institution building, and hope.
Learning. Revelation is continuous. Meaning has not been finally captured. Thus, nothing is complete. Nothing is exempt from criticism.
Freedom. All relations must rest on free consent. Coercions may be subtle, so the work of removing them is ongoing.
Justice. We are morally obligated to direct our effort toward the establishment of a just and loving community. Hence, the voices of prophets are indispensable.
Institution building. We cannot become whole without guiding institutions.
Hope. Progress, we know, is not inevitable, but it is possible.
It is the second Sunday of autumn. The moon is waning crescent, and the new moon begins on Wednesday morning.
A special welcome to our visitors. If you're a first-time visitor this morning, we invite you to introduce yourself in the chat. You'll find a link to our order of service on our website at cuucwp.org. Our website also offers resources to help keep us connected during this time and a donate button.
For October, our Share the Plate funds go to the Westchester Community College Student Emergency Fund to help economically disadvantaged students stay in school. We are able to take contributions via the donate button for your pledge, for the plate share, and for the minister's discretionary fund.
And now Board Chair Joe Majak has some news and then will lead us in lighting our chalices.
Hi, I'm Joe Majak. As the chair of the board of this congregation, I welcome you. Well, we are changing things up here at CUUC. Starting next Sunday, we will rotate the chalice lighting and chalice extinguishment duties through the members of your board of trustees. Tracy Brenneman will lead off this transition in our Sunday, October 10th service. The final guest appearance by a board member is scheduled for Sunday, December 26th, with Nicole Turgeon in the guest spotlight. We plan to pause at year-end and evaluate how this new initiative worked. It's our intention of expanding the rotation amongst members of the congregation serving in leadership or other valuable roles. It's a great opportunity for the congregation to get to know its leadership team, even though we aren't able to attend weekly service indoors just yet. We look forward to your feedback on this new idea, and we continue to search for creative and innovative ways to keep us all connected in beloved community. And now it's time to light the chalice. On the second Sunday of the season, we dedicate our chalice to the second principle of our faith: justice, equity, and compassion in all our relations. Please join with me in the chalice lighting words from Christine Robinson. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Almost 300 years ago, the Great Awakening swept through the English colonies in America. It was a religious revival movement in the 1730s. Traveling preachers went from town to town, holding revival meetings, drawing large outdoor crowds for highly emotional experiences. When you remember that the first colleges in the colonies, Harvard, William and Mary, Yale, were founded with the main purpose of training clergy, and that the local minister was typically the only person in town with higher education, and that Sunday morning was the preacher's platform for demonstrating his sophisticated training, then you get a picture of religion in the hands of the experts. Everyone else was supposed to quietly follow the experts' instructions as best they could, as presented in sermons that were long, closely reasoned, dry theological arguments read from manuscript. The Great Awakening, however, encouraged ordinary people to make personal connection with God instead of relying on a minister. At a time when religion in America was steadily declining, the Great Awakening reinvigorated interest in religion and offered many people intense, emotionally consuming religious experience. Jonathan Edwards' famous sermon, "Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God," exemplified the preaching of the Great Awakening. The implicit message was that a deity who was ruled by emotion demanded emotional worship. The Great Awakening produced a reaction against its over-emotionalism and a renewed case for a rational approach. There were no known Unitarians in the colonies at this time, but the intellectual forebears of Unitarianism emerged out of this reaction to the emotionalism of the Great Awakening.
Franz Schubert's music reminds us that a single vowel distinguishes wander from wonder. His music is said to meander, ambling from harmonic surprise to harmonic surprise, shifting from major to minor on the edge of a dime, leaving us to experience the freshness of discovery at every turn. That quality of unceasing wonderment characterizes a tiny valse sentimentale like the one I'm about to play for you, as much as his large-scale symphonies, sonatas, and chamber works.
Today's spoken invocation evokes the sense of wonder that may come over a parent having just put a child to bed, which wondering then takes in all the mystery of life. Wondering by Miriam Kevin, published in 1927. Now you sleep. All your little eager words are drowned in that warm deep. All the swiftness of your eyes, the moving grace your hand implies, are gone as even sunlight goes. You sleep. Fleet and vibrant body, now so quiet lying, rush and beat of living that must end in dying. All of growth and waning is so deeply strange, far beyond our knowing. Each foreboding change, that we who once were children wondering at the moon are even now but children, wondering night and noon. Now you wake, fluid as a flowing river these first steps you take, but the wonder's just begun. The moon dissolves, but see the sun, and you are yet all strangeness, now you wake. And you are yet all strangeness, now you wake. Now please sing along with the sung invocation Spirit of Life in Spanish, then English.
The mission of Community Unitarian Universalist Congregation is the covenant of this congregation. Would all the members and visitors who would like to please affirm it along with me? We covenant to nurture each other in our spiritual journeys, foster compassion and understanding within and beyond our community, and engage in service to transform ourselves and our world. More music. The first of Franz Schubert's Moments musicaux, or musical moments, suggests the wonder of alpine landscapes with distant horns calling to each other in overlapping echoes.
Our story this morning is I Wonder, written by Annika Harris, illustrated by John Rowe. In the author's note, Annika Harris writes, I believe that one of the most important gifts we can give our children is the confidence to say, I don't know. It's the foundation from which we begin our investigation of the world, asking questions, taking the necessary time to understand the answers, and searching for new answers when the ones we have don't seem to work. The feeling of not knowing is also a source of wonder and awe. In this story, a child learns that it's okay to say, I don't know, and discovers that there are some things even adults don't know, mysteries for everyone to wonder about together.
Eva loves to look for the moon. It follows her from place to place, disappearing behind trees and mountains, and then appearing again someplace new. Look, Mama, there it is. The moon looks so beautiful in the sky. How do you think it follows us, Eva? Eva thinks about it, but she just can't figure it out. It's okay to say I don't know, says her mother. When we don't know something, we get to wonder about it. I wonder if the moon and the earth are friends, says Eva. Her mother smiles. I like that idea. But Mama, how does the moon really stay close to us all? There's an invisible force called gravity that pulls all the things in the universe together, Eva's mother explains. Gravity keeps the moon close to the earth, and it keeps the planets close to the sun too. They circle around like this. Eva understands a little better, but then she starts to wonder, Mama, where does gravity come from? I don't know, Eva. Nobody really knows for sure. And when no one knows the answer to something, it's called a mystery. A mystery is something for everyone to wonder about together. How fun! Eva imagines herself wondering about gravity together with all the people of the world. Eva watches the moon disappear behind the clouds as she walks, excited to see where it will appear next. How many grains of sand are in the whole world, Mama? I wonder about that too. There are trillions and trillions of grains of sand, but nobody knows exactly how many. Eva tries to think about all the sand in the whole world. It feels so big I can't fit it all in my imagination. It makes me feel a little dizzy, like I'm falling. I know what you mean, her mother agrees, and I'm sure other people feel that way too. Eva walks down another path looking for the moon, and a little orange butterfly appears. Then she noticed there are butterflies everywhere. Mama, where do all of these butterflies come from? These butterflies had been flying around for a few days, but they started out as little caterpillars, and those caterpillars came from eggs, and those eggs came from other butterflies. There are cycles all around us, with one thing ending and another beginning. Things are always changing. Can you think of other things that change? Clouds and frogs. And me. Later, Eva wonders, Mama, what was here before all the butterflies and frogs and clouds, before everything? I don't know, answers her mother. It's another mystery. I like trying to imagine what was here before the beginning of everything. What do you think was here? And Eva says, smiling, I don't know. She thinks about it for a long time, and then she has an idea. I wonder if there were feelings. As she walks home, Eva sees the moon again glowing brightly above the roof of her house. Let's go inside and look for the moon through the window. We live with some big mysteries. When we come upon one, we're given a little gift. Every mystery is something for all of us to wonder about together. What do you wonder about?
Hello, I am Dolores Swearing-Yao, Executive Director of the Westchester Community College Foundation. Thank you for inviting me here today, and also thank you for your very generous support of our students over the past 4 years. Westchester Community College Foundation's Student Emergency Fund has been helping to meet the many barriers that our students need to overcome in order to continue and complete their studies. Emergency fund contributions support essential expenses such as rent payments, utilities, emergency medical needs, and many other urgent needs. Food insecurity remains at an all-time high for our students. We continue to provide assistance with food and transportation thanks to our generous supporters like the Community Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We provide students with information and help them to access community resources such as food pantries, soup kitchens, and mobile food banks throughout the county, as well as assistance securing benefits such as SNAP. As students begin to return to on-campus instruction, their needs continue to grow. I would like to read you a note that we received from one of our students who received emergency aid, Daniel D. Daniel says, I was one of the recipients of the emergency aid grant, and I'm writing to express my gratitude for the opportunities this grant has made accessible for me. The funds were used to pay my rent while I finished my 3rd semester of my registered nurse degree. I had fallen behind on my rent and was going to be evicted from my apartment within the next few weeks if I did not catch up. Thankfully, I had heard of this program and applied as my last chance to stay in my program, and somehow I got approved. I cannot tell you how much this grant has changed my life for the better. I was sure I would have to drop out of my program as I couldn't afford to live anywhere else or continue my remote learning classes. I don't have to worry about that anymore and can focus on keeping my grades up and finishing my degree within the upcoming months and join the other nurses helping to fight COVID. It is an honor to be a Westchester Community College student, and I will be proud to be a graduate nurse of this school soon. Thank you again for everything. And that really says it all. Your continuing support is truly life-changing for our students, enabling them to move from insecurity to financial independence through a college education, which improves their lives, their families' lives, and their communities. Thank you once again for all of your support.
Good morning. I'm Karen Leahy, I'm here today on behalf of Democracy Matters social justice team, and I have an invitation. You know that in many states, voting rights are being trampled on. We could just get angry, or we could do something about this. And here's something we can do. On Saturday, October 16th, from 10 to 12 in the morning, we're holding a letter writing party at the CUUC, a rare chance to be safely together in our building. The letters, generated by Vote Forward working with UU the Vote, are being sent to underserved voters in Virginia, mostly people of color, to urge them to vote in the statewide November elections. Why this is important is because Virginia has not attempted to block voting in communities of color. It's important that they keep the kind of leadership they have now, leaders who value democracy and who work to ensure the rights of all its citizens. Join us for an hour or two on October 16th. We'll have everything you need, plus lots of encouragement, some snacks, and spirited breaks. The letters are pre-printed. All you add is a brief note on why you vote, and we'll even have samples of wording you can use or adapt. Then you sign your name, address the envelope, and voila, another voter encouraged by your personal respect for democracy. We ask that all who come are vaccinated if they're able, wear a mask, and remain mindful of safe distancing. Please RSVP to the address in the newsletter so we have enough materials ready for you. Let's make this a rousing, solid contribution to social justice and the democratic process, and a show of UU spirit. See you there?
Shall we pray? Source of wonder. We are perishing, G.K. Chesterton said, for want of wonder, not for want of wonders. The wonders of creation abound around us. May we open to perceive the wonder that's there, allow ourselves to be dazzled by what is dazzling, and recognize that everything is dazzling. The heart is a vast landscape. What wonder this is that we can feel so many different, sometimes conflicting emotions at the same time. Sometimes in the face of all the suffering, we confuse love with needing to hold everything we feel tightly. We live in a buzzing world in which we are aware of more than we are able to hold, to both witness and release. This is real love for self and for neighbor, to both witness and release, neither turning away, refusing to see, nor clinging tightly to our grief. This is the path of compassion. We have sometimes stepped onto that path and sometimes stepped off it, either by turning away from life's pain or by turning away from life's joy. May we ever more consistently walk the path of compassion. Let us hold and then release into love the more than 4.8 million lives claimed by COVID-19. Worldwide, according to the data available, new cases per day are down 34% in the last 33 days, and deaths are down 30% in the last 38 days. We have seen these numbers come down before, only to go back up again. May we be vigilant in our efforts to bring this pandemic to a close. Let us hold and then release into love the nearly 13,000 Haitian immigrants on the US-Mexico border and the 19,000 in Colombia crossing into Panama, who in their desperation have left their homes, traveling a dangerous journey, asking for asylum and hope. May our nation meet those who come to the border with justice, kindness, and shared humanity. May there be repentance, accountability, and change for the inhuman ways these fellow siblings have been treated. Let us hold and then release into love those affected by the 5.9 earthquake on the island of Crete in Greece. Let us hold and release into love the 5 Palestinians killed during raids by Israeli forces in the West Bank. May these 2 countries who have suffered for so long find comfort for grief and peace between them. Let us hold and then release into love the people of Afghanistan, the women who have been banned from studying and working in universities, the women who have protested day after day this month for equal rights and freedom under new Taliban rule, and the men who have been banned from cutting their beards and hair. We also hold in our hearts the joys, sorrows, and celebratory milestones within our congregation and written today in our chat. We ask of ourselves the mindful intention to delight in what is good, to confront what is cruel, to heal what is broken. Amen. We'll observe now a moment of silent meditation, followed by musical meditation, and then please sing along with the sung response.
In his second Moment Musical, Schubert modulates from key to key, allowing a single passing tone to open up wondrous new vistas at one moment or shatter blissful dreams at another.
calling on you, hungry hearts, everywhere through endless time. You who wonder, you who thirst, I offer you this heart of mine. Calling on you, hungry spirits, all the lost and the left behind. All I can, I'll share with you, your joy and your sorrow, I make it mine.
At our in-gathering service 3 weeks ago, I suggested starting off our congregational year with a practice of choosing your practice. As I've been mentioning, almost any activity can be a spiritual practice if you do it mindfully, you do it with intention to cultivate spiritual development, and you establish a foundation of spiritual orientation. Establishing a spiritual foundation is a three-legged stool: journaling, study, and stillness. Today, I'll talk about stillness. Give some time every day to sitting down and being still. Sit up straight, sit on the front edge of your chair or cushion, extend your back, lifting the top of your head as high as it will go. If you're using a chair, place feet flat on the floor about 8 inches apart, shins plumb vertical. Let your shoulders and arms completely relax. With your hands resting in your lap, cup one hand inside the other with the tips of the thumbs just barely touching. Don't close your eyes, but almost close them. Leave them open a slit as you gaze at a point on the ground 5 or 6 feet in front of you. Your intention is not to still or quiet the mind, but to spend this time simply noticing the mind. Bring attention to your breathing and count each exhale to yourself. Count up to 10, then start back again at 1. When your mind wanders, make a note of what it wandered off doing. Planning, remembering, fantasizing, then gently bring yourself back to this moment and start again at 1. With journaling, study, and stillness, you establish a foundation to support some other activity. Quilting, yoga, or cooking, say, as your primary spiritual practice. For more on this spiritual practice, see the post Meditate at CUUCmatters.org. The link is in your e-communitarian.
Our hymn is number 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Please sing along with the chancel choir of the First Unitarian Church of Oakland.
Come thou fount of every blessing, tune our hearts to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. While the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joy and love, teach us ever to be faithful. May we still thy goodness prove. Come thou fount of every vision, lift our hearts to what may come. See the lion and the lamb king dwell together in thy home. Hear our cries of war fall silent, feel our love flow like the sun. When we all serve one another, then our heaven is begun. Come thou fount of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways. Lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us find ourselves in union, help our hands tell of our love. With thy hateful
October. I love this season, the cooler air, the exuberance of spring and summer giving way to the quieter brilliance, the poignant beauty of the ebbing of life. It's a month of wonder, a perfect month for us to reflect on wonder and allow wonder to fill our breasts. So wonder is our theme of the month. Of course, any season in which you can slow down a little and appreciate beauty, and really everything is beautiful if you are in a mind to see its beauty, is a time of wonder. So come, friends, let us wonder together. Let us wonder about wonder, for wonder is itself a wonder. What an amazing thing that we should be beings who get amazed. A wondrous thing that these animal bodies, yours and mine, should be built to experience wonder. Where does that come from? It's a wonder. The capacity for wonder is not unique to humans. The chimpanzees, whose branch on the evolutionary tree split off about 6 or 7 million years ago from the branch that eventually led to Homo sapiens, also seem to experience wonder. Jane Goodall noticed the wonder that chimps seem to feel in the presence of a waterfall. Here, let's let Jane herself explain.
When the chimpanzees approach, they hear this roaring sound, and you see the hair stand a little on end, and then they move a bit quicker. And when they get here, they'll rhythmically sway, often upright, picking up big rocks and throwing them for maybe 10 minutes. Sometimes climbing up the vines at the side and swinging out into the spray. And they're right down in the water, which normally they avoid. Afterwards, you'll see them sitting on a rock, actually in the stream, looking up, watching the water with their eyes as it falls down, and then watching it going away. I can't help feeling that this waterfall display or dance is perhaps triggered by feelings of awe, wonder that we feel. The chimpanzee's brain is so like ours. They have emotions that are clearly similar to or the same as those that we call happiness, sadness, fear, despair, and so forth. Incredible intellectual abilities that we used to think unique to us. So why wouldn't they also have feelings of some kind of spirituality, which is really being amazed at things outside yourself. And it's the same at the start of heavy rain. I've seen it a couple of times when a sudden wind came roaring through the valley. And it you know, maybe it's defying the elements, defying the rain. Maybe it's the same kind of amazement that they feel with the waterfall. I think chimpanzees are as spiritual as we are, but they can't analyze it, they don't talk about it, they can't describe what they feel. You get the feeling that it's all locked up inside them. And the only way they can express it is through this fantastic rhythmic dance.
What are these chimps doing? What are we doing when we stand in wonder before a waterfall or a grand vista? There doesn't seem to be any utilitarian purpose for this. It doesn't seem to confer any reproductive advantage. So how did natural selection select for the capacity for wonder? For these chimps, it looks actually risky. They could slip on the rocks, and chimps can't swim, so the risk of falling in could be life-threatening. We heard Jane Goodall say the chimpanzee brain is similar to ours. They have emotions that are clearly similar to those that we call happiness and sadness and fear and despair and so forth. So why wouldn't they also have feelings of some kind of spirituality, which is really being amazed at things outside yourself? She goes on to say, I think chimpanzees are as spiritual as we are, but they can't analyze it. They don't talk about it. They can't describe what they feel. Being amazed at things outside of yourself is part of spirituality, as is, for that matter, being amazed at things inside yourself. The larger part of spirituality, it seems to me, is the making meaning of things, of life, of this existence. So describing the feelings of wonder, which is how we place those feelings in a context of meaning, is itself a big component of spirituality. If the chimps can't describe what they feel, then I'd say they have a seed of spirituality, but that seed hasn't sprouted into spirituality. The seed is wonder, and it does seem that the chimps are experiencing wonder. It's true that we don't know what's happening in a rain-dancing chimp's mind. Let's remember, we don't know what's happening in a rain-dancing human's mind. We don't know what's going on in each other's minds or even in our own mind. We are mysteries to ourselves. It turns out that various loud stimuli, machinery, boisterous people, or waterfalls can elicit chimpanzee displays. But what about that sitting quietly and staring at the waterfall afterwards? That's just what I and most people would do at the foot of a waterfall. Quietly gaze. Philosopher Jesse Prinz identifies three components of wonder. He says there's the sensory. Wondrous things engage our senses. We stare and widen our eyes. That part we have in common with chimps and some other animals. Then there's the cognitive. Wondrous things are beyond what we can cognitively comprehend. There's something perplexing about them. Whether the chimps experience this component is less clear. And finally, there's the spiritual. We look upwards in veneration. Our heart swells. Wonder is what we experience when we confront mystery. Some kinds of mysteries are solvable by figuring it out or looking up the answer. Those aren't the kinds we're interested in today. Rather, wonder is what we experience when we confront irresolvable mystery. This kind of mystery you don't solve, you live the mystery. Who am I? Who is asking that question? What is this world? What is matter? The more we attend to the details of what the physicists say about it, the weirder and more mysterious it gets. Why is there me? Why is there anything? Why is there something rather than nothing? Where am I? What is the meaning of this geographic location or this stage in the arc of my life? These are the questions that admit of no settled answer. You might have provisional or partial answers, but it might be better to not even have that much. Just be in the mystery without grasping after an answer. What sort of place is the universe? What is life? How does it happen? What is consciousness? How does it happen? Scientists seem to have a lot to say about these things, so maybe they are in the category of things to figure out. But on the other hand, they leave us with just as much mystery. When the physicists say that, you see, there are 11 dimensions and billions of parallel universes made possible by different pathways taken by photons, or when biologists tell us about the chemical equations of the reactions inside a cell, reactions which they say constitute and define life, or when neurologists say that consciousness is an emergent property of 100 billion neurons firing across 100 trillion synapses, one may reasonably feel that such steps towards solving the mystery don't really clear up any of the mysteriousness we must live. Knowing the science merely gives us a particular sort of language for expressing what is, at bottom, the same wonder. And before science, there were elaborate theologies. Knowing the theology, likewise, gave us a particular sort of language for expressing what is, at bottom, the same wonder. Let's take a break here and see what Schubert has to say about it. Adam?
Thank you, Reverend Meredith. Schubert's final composition, his piano sonata in B-flat major, which was published posthumously, was completed within a few months of his untimely death at the age of 31. This radiant music, its feet barely touching the ground with the giddy lightness of a chimp confronting a waterfall, belies the composer's suffering from the tertiary syphilis, which would soon claim his life.
Wonder, the type of wonder I'm talking about, is a kind of falling in love with our world, with ourselves, with the experience of being alive. Wonder is typically expressed in the form of a question, which might fool us into thinking an explanatory answer is being sought. It is not. The point of love is to love, not to explain it, figure it out, or solve it. And the point of wonder is likewise not to get an explanation, a solution, or an answer. The point of wonder is to wonder, to be filled with admiration, amazement, or awe, bounded by humility, by gratitude, and by joy. One of the questions for you this month for taking up in your journey groups is, what is your number one source of wonder? Is it a starry sky, a mountaintop view, a wide expanse of trees at the peak of autumn foliage? These are contexts we can place ourselves in that encourage wonder. And then sometimes wonder descends upon us in the midst of the perfectly ordinary. Thomas Merton wrote about an amazing experience of wonder he had in 1958 on a street corner in Louisville. Merton, then age 43, was a Trappist monk who had spent most of the previous 17 years at the Abbey of Gethsemane near Bardstown, Kentucky, most of that in silence. On a rare trip to Louisville, about an hour's drive from the Abbey, he had a sudden and stunning experience of wonder. He described it in his journal. In Louisville, at the corner of 4th and Walnut, in the center of the shopping district, I was suddenly overwhelmed with the realization that I loved all those people, that they were mine and I theirs, that we could not be alien to one another, even though we were total strangers. It was like waking from a dream of separateness. The whole illusion of a separate holy existence is a dream. This sense of liberation from an illusory difference was such a relief and such a joy to me that I almost laughed out loud. And I suppose my happiness could have taken form in the words, thank God that I am like other men, that I am only a man among others. It is a glorious destiny to be a member of the human race, though it is a race dedicated to many absurdities and one which makes many terrible mistakes. A member of the human race, to think that such a commonplace realization should suddenly seem like news, that one holds the winning ticket in a cosmic sweepstake. And if only everybody could realize this, but it cannot be explained. There is no way of telling people that they are all walking around shining like the sun. They are not they, but my own self. There are no strangers. Then it was as if suddenly I saw the secret beauty of their hearts. The depths of their hearts were neither sin nor desire nor self-knowledge can reach. The core of their reality. If only they could all see themselves as they really are. If only we could see each other that way all the time. There would be no more war, no more hatred, no more cruelty, no more greed. I suppose the big problem would be that we would fall down and worship each other. Well, that's a powerful wonder. How did that happen to Thomas Merton? I raised the question earlier, why do we have experiences like that? What practical function could they serve? Why would natural selection favor a capacity for such experience? But we might also ask the opposite question. Why doesn't it happen to more of us more often? Why isn't wonder a constant or at least greater proportion of life? Why do we not pass through the world open-mouthed with amazement and joy? We are surrounded by, submerged within wonders of sight and sound and smell, the wonder of every single thing and all things together, of what Philip Larkin called the million-petaled flower of being. Is not our proper state of mind one of metaphysical intoxication? So many wonders, and yet so little wondering. We perish for want of wonder, though, thought Chesterton, though we are surrounded continuously by wonders. Whatever the mysterious process by which we became the sort of beings with the capacity for wonder, why aren't we exercising that capacity all the time? Daily life presents barriers to wonder, and that, I guess, is why. The barriers to wonder include distress, hunger, pain, illness, bereavement, stress, busyness, tension, and anxiety. As Raymond Tallis writes, no one chasing after a bus has the time to be astonished at the intricate coordination of everyday life that ensures that buses run to timetables and that we act in accordance with goals that are at once singular and abstract. A focus on caring for others, for doing good in the world, requires solving the problems that need solving, focusing on the practical needs. This reduces the world around you to two categories. Everything is either an instrument that will be helpful for your purpose or an obstacle that threatens to thwart your purpose. It is a noble thing to have goals and purposes to pursue accomplishment. At least it is when those goals and accomplishments involve making the world better, easing suffering, improving the overall quality of life of the inhabitants of this planet. We need and we take breaks from our work. And that's where we can cultivate a wonder that might even linger when we return to work, coloring our tasks with an abiding background radiation of peace and delight. Unfortunately, modern life encourages us to make our leisure as busy as our work. We line up our diversions and then make our free time as rushed as our work time. There's hiking and kayaking and bicycling, tennis, or some fun form of exercising. There are things to see, a play, a concert, an art exhibit, movies. There are novels to read and whole seasons of intriguing television shows to binge watch. Even the most elevated pleasures designed to open us up to the world in such a way that we might wonder at it may be assimilated into the flow of unthinking dailiness. We work frenetically and then play frenetically, because if we don't, we might be bored. Boredom. These then are the three main barriers to wonder: the purposive focus of work, a similarly purposive focus on our diversions, and when neither of those is happening, allowing ourselves to be bored. Boredom says that indifference is the appropriate response to things around us. The ordinary is indeed ordinary. To take it for granted is precisely the way to take it. There is the uneasy sense that though we urge it on ourselves and on others, wonder is somehow insincere, fake, sentimental. After all, a state you can enter only when it's convenient, and which is convenient only when there's nothing serious or important going on, must itself seem non-serious or unimportant. We speak appreciatively of childlike wonder, but most of us would rather be known as serious adults, productive on the one hand and erudite on the other. Boredom is for serious people who expect or want or need life to give them serious work and serious play. Boredom makes that demand and signals that it is not being met. But boredom precludes wonder, just as wonder precludes boredom. We can't make ourselves have experiences like Thomas Merton had in Louisville at the corner of 4th and Walnut. We can only cultivate, nurture the slow growth of the wonder plant, not knowing what shape it may take as it grows, facilitating a power that though we nurture, we do not control. The way to cultivate wonder is with a spiritual practice. Indeed, what makes a practice a spiritual practice is that it cultivates wonder. Continual mindfulness of death, Raymond Tallis points out, is conducive to wondering at life. Over many centuries, as the development of human civilization afforded the leisure to pursue wonder, that wonder led us to create arts as a way of expressing our wonder. Wonder led us to then create religion as ways to tell a story about awesome creation and to have rituals to reinforce the wonder. Wonder led us at last to create science, the exploration of nature's wonders. For the mature mind, writes Jesse Prinz, wondrous experience can be used to inspire a painting, a myth, or a scientific hypothesis. These things take patience and an audience equally eager to move beyond the initial state of bewilderment. Art, science, and religion, he concludes, are inventions for feeding the appetite that wonder excites in us. They also become sources of wonder in their own right, generating epicycles of boundless creativity and enduring inquiry. That's a long way from a chimp staring at a waterfall with no way to describe it. From time to time, we all need to reconnect with that original experience, the seed from which art, religion, and science all grow, and just sit at the foot of a waterfall. Just sit and gaze. May we all find or take time to do so. Amen.
Our closing hymn is number 1064, Blue Boat Home. I invite you to sing along with composer Peter Mayer.
Low below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue
Please say with me these words as we extinguish our chalices. The light of our time together we now extinguish. We go now from this place of renewal to carry forward our commitment to justice, equity, and compassion.
Benedictory words from Frederick Gillis.
May the love which overcomes all differences,
which heals all wounds,
which puts to flight all fears,
which reconciles all who are separated,
be in us and among us,
now and always. Go in peace.
If you have troubles, then I've got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. If we stick together, we can see it through. 'Cause you've got a friend in me. Yeah, you've got a friend in me. Now some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am. Maybe, but none of them will ever love you the way I do. Just me and you, boy. And as the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me.
One more musical moment by Schubert. This is number 3 in F minor, a wonderful little polka.